Welcome back to another episode of Learn English with Podcast Conversation. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Daniel. Today, we're diving into an essential skill for anyone learning English: how to order food at restaurants.
That's right. Whether you're dining out while traveling or simply enjoying a meal with friends, knowing how to order food confidently is important for a pleasant experience.
In this episode, we'll share practical phrases, useful vocabulary, and helpful tips that will make ordering food feel effortless and enjoyable.
And remember, listening to our podcast can significantly improve your English by exposing you to everyday conversations and the language used in real-life situations.
So, let's get started and help you feel more at ease the next time you find yourself in a restaurant.
When you arrive at a restaurant, the first thing you usually do is greet the staff. A friendly way to start is by saying, "Hello, how are you today?"
Absolutely. After the greeting, the host will typically ask if you'd like a table. You can respond by saying, "Yes, please." "I would like a table for two, please," if you are dining with a friend.
If the restaurant is busy and there's a wait for a table, it's perfectly fine to ask, "How long is the wait for a table?" This way, you can plan accordingly.
Once you're seated, the server will usually present you with a menu. It's important to take your time to look over your options. You might say, "Thank you. I'll take a moment to look at the menu."
If you see a dish that catches your eye but you're unsure about it, you can ask questions to clarify. For example, you could say, "Could you tell me more about the grilled salmon? What does it come with?" This shows your interest in the meal and helps you make a better choice.
Now, let's discuss how to actually place your order. A common phrase to use when ordering is, "I would like to order the spaghetti with marinara sauce, please."
Exactly, this phrase helps you communicate clearly what you want. Additionally, you can say, "Could I also get a side salad with that, please, to add something extra to your meal, ...
If you're feeling unsure about the menu, feel free to ask for help from the server. You could say, "I'm not sure what to choose. What do you recommend from the menu? I'm in the mood for something spicy."
It's also essential to mention any dietary preferences you may have. If you follow a specific diet, you might say, "I am a vegetarian, so do you have any vegetarian options available for me on the menu?"
That's a really good point, Jennifer. If you have any allergies, you should communicate those clearly. For example, you can say, "I have a gluten allergy. Can you please tell me which dishes do not contain gluten?" This helps the staff accommodate your needs.
Once you've made your order for the main dish, the server will typically ask if you'd like any drinks. You can respond by saying, "I would like a glass of sparkling water, please," or specify your drink of choice, like "I would like an iced tea, please."
When it comes to desserts, if the server mentions them, you can show your interest by asking, "What desserts do you have available today? I would love to try something sweet after my meal."
If you're feeling adventurous and want to try something special, you might say, "I'll try the chocolate lava cake because I have heard great things about it." This opens up opportunities to experience unique flavors.
Remember, if you decide to change your mind about your order while you're sitting there, it is completely fine. You can politely say, "Actually, I would like to change my order to the Caesar salad instead of the chicken soup." This flexibility is appreciated by servers.
When you finish your meal, the server will usually check in to see if you would like anything else. You can simply respond by saying, "No, thank you. I would just like the bill, please."
Yes, and when the bill arrives, take a moment to review it carefully to ensure everything is correct. If something seems unclear, you might want to ask, "Could you please explain these charges on my bill? I want to make sure everything is right."
When you are ready to pay, you can ask, "Can I pay by credit card, please?" Or you could say, "I would like to pay in cash," if that's okay.
It's also polite to leave a tip if you enjoyed your meal and the service. You can say something like, keep the change if you are tipping in cash, or you can add a tip when paying by card. That's a fantastic idea. You could also listen to English conversations in restaurants, perhaps by watching movies or podcasts that depict dining scenes, so you can get a feel for the language used in such situations.
And do not hesitate to try ordering in English whenever the opportunity arises. The more you practice in real-life scenarios, the more confident and skilled you will become.
Keep in mind that making mistakes is a natural part of the learning process. Every experience you have in a restaurant will help improve your language skills and boost your confidence.
When ordering food, sometimes you may have special requests. It's essential to communicate these clearly. For instance, if you prefer your meal prepared differently, you could say, "Could I please have my steak cooked medium rare instead of well done?" This lets the staff know your preference.
That's a great point. Jennifer, you can also ask for changes to your meal if you don't want a specific ingredient. For example, you could say, "I don't want any onions on my burger, please, this way." The restaurant can accommodate your needs and make your meal just how you like it.
If you are dining with someone who has specific dietary restrictions, you might say, "My friend is allergic to peanuts. Can you please ensure that no peanuts are included in our dishes? This keeps everyone safe and happy."
Additionally, if you have a preference for a specific cooking method, you might say, "I prefer my vegetables steamed rather than sautéed. Could you please prepare them that way?" Making your preferences known helps ensure a better dining experience.
While dining, engaging with the staff can enhance your experience. If you enjoy the food, you can compliment the server by saying, "This pasta is delicious. I really love the flavors in this dish." Positive feedback can make their day brighter.
Absolutely. It's also a great conversation starter. You could ask the server, "What's your favorite dish on the menu? I'm interested in trying something new." This not only helps you choose, but also fosters a friendly atmosphere.
If you have any questions about the restaurant or its history, don't hesitate to ask. You might say, "How long has this restaurant been open? I've heard great things about it." This shows your interest and can lead to engaging conversations.
And if you have a memorable dining experience, feel free to mention it at the end of your meal. You could say, "Thank you for the wonderful service. I'll definitely be back again." This leaves a positive impression and encourages good service in the future.
Every time you eat out, it's an opportunity to learn and practice your English. If you make a mistake, it's completely okay. You can laugh it off by saying, "Oops, I meant to order the chicken, not the fish. Can we fix that, please?" This shows you're willing to learn.
Exactly. Reflecting on your experiences can help you improve. After dining, you can think about what phrases worked well and what you might change next time. You could ask yourself, "Did I ask for what I wanted clearly? How can I improve for my next visit?"
Moreover, you can keep a small notebook where you write down new phrases or vocabulary you learn while ordering food. For example, you might jot down, "How do I ask for a recommendation?" This helps reinforce your learning.
You can even practice with friends or family by role-playing restaurant scenarios. You might say, "Let's pretend we're at a restaurant and I'll practice ordering different dishes." This way, you're applying what you've learned in a fun, low-pressure environment.
As you get more comfortable ordering food, try to expand your vocabulary. For example, instead of just saying, "I want a salad," you could say, "I would like a fresh garden salad with a balsamic vinaigrette, please." This adds variety to your language use.
That's a fantastic suggestion. Learning descriptive words can make your ordering more colorful. Instead of simply asking for a drink, you could say, "Could I please have a refreshing mint lemonade?" This not only sounds appealing, but helps you practice descriptive language.
You can also learn about different types of cuisines. If you're at an Italian restaurant, you might want to learn words related to pasta and pizza. You could say, "I would like to try the linguine with pesto sauce." This shows your knowledge and interest in the cuisine.
And if you visit a different cultural restaurant, take the time to learn some key terms from that cuisine. For instance, if you go to a Thai restaurant, you could say, I would love to order the pad Thai with shrimp. This helps you connect with the food and shows your enthusiasm.
At the end of your meal, summarizing your experience can be very rewarding. You might say, I had a fantastic time dining here. The food was excellent, and the service was top-notch. This kind of feedback is always appreciated.
It's also nice to express your intention to return. You can say, I can't wait to come back and try more dishes from the menu. This shows your appreciation and interest in the restaurant.
If there were any issues, like your food not being cooked as you requested, you can address it politely. You might say, the steak was cooked a little more than I asked for, but it was still delicious. Thank you for the effort. This way, you provide constructive feedback while remaining polite.
Lastly, don't forget to mention your overall satisfaction. You could say, overall, this was a wonderful dining experience. Thank you for making it enjoyable. This leaves a positive note as you conclude your meal.
Sometimes, a small error can happen with your order, and it's okay to bring it up politely. If you receive the wrong dish, you could say, excuse me, I think there's been a mix-up. I ordered the grilled salmon, but I received pasta. Could you help me with this?
Yes, mistakes happen and being calm helps. You might add, I understand it's busy and I appreciate your help. Showing patience and understanding keeps the situation friendly and ensures the staff is eager to correct it.
If the dish isn't prepared as you requested, like if you asked for no onions and they're still included, you could say, I'm sorry to bother you, but I had requested no onions in my salad. Would it be possible to get a new one?
Exactly, Jennifer. This way, you're addressing the issue without sounding upset, which is usually appreciated. And if it's a minor issue you can overlook, it's sometimes easier to just go with the flow.
If you couldn't finish everything, you can ask to take it home. You could say, could I get a container for my leftovers, please? This is a common request and helps you enjoy the meal later, too.
That's right. You could also say, I'd like to take this to go, if that's possible. It's useful if you're dining in a culture where taking food home is common.
Another way to ask is, could you please pack this up for me? This phrase is friendly and direct, making it easy for the server to understand your request.
And sometimes the server may ask if you'd like your food packed. If they do, just say, yes, please. That would be great. It's a simple exchange that's part of the dining experience.
Compliments go a long way, especially if you really enjoyed the food or service. You could say, could you please pass my compliments to the chef? The meal was fantastic. It's a thoughtful way to acknowledge the chef's work.
That's a lovely gesture, Jennifer. Another way is to mention something specific like the flavors in the curry were amazing. Please let the chef know we really enjoyed it. Specific compliments make it even more meaningful.
And you could also thank the server directly for their service. Saying, thank you for taking such good care of us tonight shows that you appreciated their attention and effort.
Exactly, showing gratitude makes the experience positive for everyone involved. The staff will remember that, and it may even make your next visit even better.
Sometimes you may have dietary preferences, and it's good to communicate them clearly. For example, you could say, I'm a vegetarian. Could you recommend any dishes without meat or fish?
That's a smart approach, Jennifer. If you're vegan, you might say, I'm looking for vegan options. Do you have any dishes without dairy, eggs, or animal products? This makes it clear and helps the server guide you.
And for food allergies, being specific is very important. You could say, I have a peanut allergy. Are there any dishes without peanuts, or can a dish be prepared without them? This ensures your meal is safe.
Great point. Or if you're gluten-free, you could ask, do you have gluten-free options, or can the dish be modified to be gluten-free? This way, you're clear and it allows the kitchen to make adjustments if possible.
Sometimes giving feedback is helpful. If you loved a dish, you could say, "This was one of the best pastas I've had." Thank you so much for a wonderful meal. Positive feedback is always appreciated.
Yes, Jennifer, and if something could be improved, you can say it politely. For instance, I really enjoyed the meal, but the soup was a bit salty for my taste. Just thought I'd mention it for next time. This gives feedback without sounding harsh.
And if the atmosphere or service was exceptional, let them know. You might say, "We loved the ambience here, and the service was fantastic. Thank you for making our experience special."
It's true, good feedback makes a lasting impression. Whether it's about the food, service, or ambience, expressing your thoughts adds to the experience for everyone.
Sometimes seasonal ingredients make dishes extra special, and you can ask the server for recommendations based on what's fresh. You could say, "Are there any seasonal dishes you recommend right now?" This helps you try something unique to the current season.
That's a great tip, Jennifer. If you want to be specific, you can ask, "Do you have any fresh specials today?" Maybe something with seasonal vegetables or fruits. This way, the server can guide you to a special dish that uses the best ingredients available.
And if you're at a place known for seafood, for example, you could say, "What fresh seafood do you have today?" It's a straightforward way to find out what's most fresh and delicious.
Exactly, seasonal specials are often some of the best options because they use ingredients that are at their peak, so it's worth asking if you're interested in trying something unique.
Sometimes it's hard to know how big a portion will be, especially if you're not familiar with the restaurant style. You can ask, "Could you tell me about the portion size of this dish? Is it suitable for one person or to share?" This way, you can plan accordingly.
That's helpful. Jennifer, you could also ask, "Is this enough for a main course, or is it more like a side?" This lets the server give you a sense of the dish size so that you order the right amount.
If you're dining with others and want to share dishes, you might say, "Would you recommend this for sharing between two people?" It's a polite way to get their advice on portion sizes.
Yes, knowing portion sizes helps avoid ordering too much or too little. And it's perfectly fine to ask. Servers are used to helping customers decide what will work best.
When you have dietary restrictions, you can mention them politely. For example, you could say, "I'm allergic to shellfish. Could you please let me know if there are any dishes that don't include shellfish or that could be prepared without it?"
That's a good approach, Jennifer. For lactose intolerance, you could say, "I'm lactose intolerant. Could you suggest a dish without dairy, or can the chef make adjustments to a dish?"
And for gluten-free needs, it's clear to ask, "Do you have gluten-free options, or can the chef make this dish gluten-free?" Being specific helps avoid any misunderstandings and ensures a safe meal.
Yes, clear communication is key. Servers appreciate when customers share their dietary needs directly because it helps them make safe and enjoyable recommendations.
When you're in the mood for dessert but can't decide, ask the server for their recommendation. You could say, "Could you recommend a dessert? I'd love to try something popular or unique here."
Good idea, Jennifer. Another option is to ask, "What's the chef's special dessert tonight?" Sometimes restaurants have unique desserts that aren't on the regular menu, and it's always a treat to try something special.
If you're not sure about the sweetness, you could ask, "Is this dessert very sweet, or is it more balanced?" This way, you can choose a dessert that matches your taste.
Yes, that's a great question, Jennifer. Desserts vary so much in flavor and richness. Getting a recommendation or a little description helps you end your meal on the perfect note.
Sometimes a good beverage pairs well with a meal, and it's helpful to ask the server's advice.
Yes, or if you're open to trying something unique, you could ask, "Is there a drink special you'd recommend tonight?" Sometimes restaurants have interesting drink options that aren't on the regular menu.
And if you're avoiding alcohol, you could say, "I'd like a non-alcoholic drink. Do you have any specialty mocktails or refreshing juices?" Many places now have great non-alcoholic options,
Exactly, Jennifer. Asking for a drink recommendation can really add to the dining experience, especially if it's something that complements the flavors of the food.
Sometimes a dish might have an ingredient you're not a fan of, and it's okay to ask if they can make a substitution. You could say, I see this dish has mushrooms. Could the chef prepare it without mushrooms, please? That way, you can enjoy the dish without an ingredient you don't like.
Good example. Jennifer, you can also ask for a substitution if there's an alternative ingredient. For instance, could the chef replace the green peppers with tomatoes? This keeps things polite and specific, and most places will be happy to help if they can.
And if you're not sure, you can say, is it possible to make this without onions? This gives the server a chance to check with the chef and lets you know what's possible.
Yes, and it's always best to be clear about what you'd like adjusted. A polite request helps set a friendly tone, and it's usually no trouble for the kitchen staff to make simple changes.
If you're concerned about the spiciness of a dish, it's always helpful to ask beforehand. You might say, how spicy is this dish? This gives the server a chance to describe the level, and you'll know what to expect.
Exactly, Jennifer. You can also ask if they can adjust the spice level. For example, is it possible to make this dish less spicy? That way, if you prefer milder food, they might be able to prepare it to suit your taste.
If you're looking for more heat, you could ask, can the chef make this extra spicy? It's an easy way to add a little excitement to the meal if you enjoy spicy flavors.
Right, and some dishes are best enjoyed with the spice level as it is, so the server can let you know if they think adjusting it might change the flavor. It's a good way to enjoy the dish the way it's meant to be served.
Sometimes knowing how a dish is prepared can help you make a decision, especially if you have a preference. You might ask, how is this chicken dish cooked? Is it grilled, fried, or baked? This can give you a clearer idea of what you're ordering.
Good point, Jennifer. Asking about cooking methods can make a big difference. For example, is the fish pan fried or steamed? This helps if you're looking for a healthier option or just want to know more about the flavor.
If you're watching your calories, you could also say, is there a way to prepare this dish with less oil? Sometimes the chef can make adjustments, especially if you ask politely.
Yes, and knowing how a dish is cooked also helps you enjoy it more fully, especially if you have a preference for a specific cooking style. It's always good to ask when you're curious.
Sometimes a little extra sauce can make a dish even better. You could say, could I have some extra sauce on the side? It's a simple request, and most places are happy to bring a little extra.
That's true, Jennifer. You can also be specific about the kind of sauce you'd like. For example, could I get some extra tomato sauce with this pasta? It's a great way to customize the meal to your taste.
If you're not sure what sauce is served with the dish, you can ask, what kind of sauce comes with this dish? And can I get extra on the side? It's helpful to know the flavors you'll be getting.
Yes, extra sauces or condiments can enhance a meal, especially if you're a fan of bold flavors. A polite request like that is always appreciated by the server, and it's easy to make your meal more enjoyable that way.
If you're in a hurry or just curious about how long a dish will take, you can politely ask, how long does it usually take to prepare this dish? This helps you manage your time better, especially if you're on a schedule.
Good idea, Jennifer. Another way to ask is, could you let me know approximately how long the wait is? It's a respectful way to get an idea without sounding impatient.
If you're with a group and wondering if all dishes will come out together, you could ask, will all our dishes arrive at the same time? This helps prevent any surprises and keeps everyone's timing aligned.
Yes, and servers are usually happy to update you on the timing if you ask politely. It's always okay to check, especially if you're trying to plan around your meal.
If you have a specific dietary restriction, like a food allergy, it's important to let the restaurant know. You could say, I have a dairy allergy. Can this dish be made without any milk or cheese? This helps the server understand your needs clearly and ensures your meal is safe.
That's a very good approach, Jennifer. If you follow a particular diet like vegan or gluten-free, you could also say something like, I follow a vegan diet. Are there any dishes here without animal products? This way, the server can guide you to options that fit your preferences without any misunderstandings.
Exactly, Daniel. And if you're unsure, you could ask, can you please check with the chef if this dish contains any gluten? Sometimes ingredients are hidden in sauces or seasonings, so it's always helpful to double-check.
And remember, being clear and polite is the best way to make sure your needs are met. When you explain your request clearly, it's easier for the restaurant staff to help make your dining experience comfortable and enjoyable.
If you're in the mood to try something new but aren't sure what to choose, you can ask the server for a recommendation. You could say, I'd like to try something unique. Do you have any special dishes you'd recommend? This gives the server an idea of what you're looking for and might lead you to a dish you wouldn't have considered.
That's a great idea, Jennifer. Another way to ask is, what do you recommend if I'm looking for something light and refreshing? By sharing a bit about what you're in the mood for, you make it easier for the server to suggest something that matches your taste.
And sometimes it helps to ask about popular dishes. You could say, what's the most popular dish here? This way, you can try something that other people enjoy, which is usually a good sign of quality.
Yes, recommendations from the server can add a lot to your experience, especially if you're new to the cuisine. They often know the menu well and can point you to something that suits your mood and taste perfectly.
When you're ready for dessert, it's helpful to know about portion sizes, especially if you want to share. You might ask, how big is the chocolate cake? Is it enough to share? This gives you an idea if you'll need one or two portions.
Good point, Jennifer. You can also ask about the sweetness level if you prefer something not too sugary. For example, is the fruit tart very sweet or is it more on the tart side? That way, you know if it matches your taste before you order.
And if you're feeling unsure about which dessert to choose, you could ask, which dessert would you recommend? Sometimes the server knows the best choice, especially if there's a popular favorite.
Yes, and dessert is a great time to ask about any daily specials. You can say, do you have any special desserts today? This way, you might get a unique treat to end your meal on a perfect note.
When it's time to pay, if you're with a group, you might want to split the bill. You could say, could we get separate bills, please? Or could we split the bill evenly? This lets the server know how you'd like to handle the payment and avoids any confusion.
Yes, that's really helpful, Jennifer. If you're paying by card, you could also say, can I pay by credit card? Or if you're using mobile payment, do you accept mobile payment here? This makes the process quick and clear for everyone.
If you're planning to tip, which is common in some countries, you can let the server know. You might say, could you add a tip of 15% to the bill? This makes it easy for them to include it and saves you from calculating it on your own.
Exactly, and being polite at the end of the meal, even during payment, leaves a good impression. The staff will appreciate it, and you'll end your dining experience on a positive note.
If you enjoyed your meal, it's always nice to let the server or the restaurant know. You could say, the pasta was delicious. Please thank the chef for me. It's a small gesture that can brighten someone's day and let them know their work was appreciated.
That's so true, Jennifer, and if you have feedback, it's good to be polite and constructive. You might say, the steak was a bit overcooked, but I still enjoyed the flavors. This lets them know your thoughts without sounding too harsh.
If there's something specific you loved, you can mention it too. The dessert was amazing. I've never had anything like it. Compliments like these are always welcomed by the staff and help them understand what guests enjoy the most.
Yes, and restaurants appreciate honest feedback. If you enjoyed your experience, sharing those positive words can make the staff's day and encourage them to keep up the great work.
If you're at a restaurant in a new city or country, It's often interesting to try a local specialty. You could ask, what's a popular dish around here that locals enjoy? This way, you're showing interest in the local culture and giving yourself a chance to experience something authentic.
That's a great idea, Jennifer. You can also say, I'd like to try something unique to this area. What would you recommend? This lets the server know you're looking for an experience that's different from what you might get elsewhere, and it might lead to a special dish you'd never think to try.
And if you're unsure, you could ask, could you tell me a bit about this dish? Is it something people here eat often? This way, the server can give you background on the food, which can make the meal even more memorable.
Exactly, Jennifer. Often, servers are happy to share the story behind a dish, including any special ingredients or traditional ways it's prepared. Asking these questions shows curiosity and can make your dining experience even more enriching.
Sometimes, you might want a dish a little different from how it's listed on the menu. If you'd like to make a small change, you can ask, could you prepare the pasta with less spice? This way, you can still enjoy the dish to your taste without any surprises.
That's right, Jennifer. You can also say, could you make this salad without onions? This type of request is very common, and restaurants are usually happy to adjust a dish when they can.
And if you have a preference, like wanting your steak cooked a certain way, you might say, can I have the steak medium rare? Being specific with your request helps ensure the dish comes out just the way you like it.
Exactly, Jennifer. Just remember, it's always best to be polite. If the restaurant can't make a specific change, it's usually because of how the dish is prepared, but they often appreciate the way you ask.
If there's an issue with your order, like receiving a wrong dish, it's helpful to stay calm and polite. You could say, I think there's been a mix-up. I ordered the salmon, but this is chicken. This makes it clear there's a mistake without making the server feel uncomfortable.
Exactly, Jennifer. And if the food isn't quite what you expected, you could say, this is a bit different from what I was expecting. Could I possibly try something else? Being kind can make the process smoother, and the server will likely be more willing to help.
And if there's a delay, you might politely ask, is there a delay with my order? That way, you're checking on the status without sounding impatient. Often, restaurants are very apologetic and might even offer a small gesture to make up for the wait.
Yes, handling these situations with patience shows understanding, and it's always appreciated by the staff. Mistakes happen, and being polite often means they'll go out of their way to fix it for you.
When ordering a drink, if you have a specific preference, you can mention it. For example, I'd like a coffee, but could you make it with almond milk instead of regular milk? This way, the server knows exactly how you like it and can adjust accordingly.
That's a good tip, Jennifer. You can also specify details like, could I have my soda with no ice, please? Or can you add a lemon slice to my water? Small details like these help make your drink just the way you like it.
And if you're unsure about the options, you could ask, do you have any fresh juices available? This is helpful if you're looking for a healthier option, but don't see it on the menu.
Absolutely, Jennifer. Knowing how to ask for small changes like this makes your experience more enjoyable, and most places are happy to accommodate these little requests when they can.
Once you've finished your meal, it's always nice to show your appreciation. You could say, thank you so much for your help tonight. We really enjoyed the meal. Simple gratitude like this leaves a positive impression and shows respect for the server's effort.
That's very thoughtful. Jennifer, you can also add, thank you for your recommendations. They were perfect. This tells the server you noticed and appreciated their suggestions, especially if you enjoyed the food.
If the service was excellent, you could even let the manager know. You might say, I wanted to let you know our server did a fantastic job. Positive feedback like this can make a difference in someone's day and even in their career.
Absolutely, and if you have the chance to tip, it's another way of expressing your thanks. Saying a kind word along with it leaves a great memory of your dining experience for everyone involved.
After a great meal, dessert can be the perfect finishing touch. You can ask, could you recommend a dessert that's popular here? This way, the server can suggest something unique or something guests really enjoy, which might be better than choosing randomly.
That's a good idea, Jennifer. If you're interested in something specific, you could ask, do you have any chocolate desserts? This helps the server guide you to choices you'll likely enjoy, especially if you have a favorite flavor or type.
Or if you want something lighter, you might say, I'd like something light, maybe a fruit dessert. Do you have anything like that? It's a nice way to let the server know your preference without being too specific, giving them a bit of room to suggest something good.
Exactly, and sometimes they might even tell you about a special dessert that's not listed on the menu. Asking for recommendations often opens up options you wouldn't have known about, and it can add a little excitement to the meal.
If you have an allergy or specific dietary restriction, it's important to communicate that clearly to the server. You could say, I have a nut allergy. Are there any dishes I should avoid? Being direct helps them understand your needs and can make the experience safer.
Absolutely, Jennifer. You can also phrase it like, I'm lactose intolerant. Could you let me know if there are any dairy-free options? Most places will be familiar with common dietary needs and are happy to help find safe choices.
And if you follow a specific diet, like vegetarian or vegan, you could say, I'm vegetarian. Could you suggest a dish that fits? This way, they're aware of your preference, and they can guide you to the best options on the menu.
Exactly. Communicating these needs early on makes it easier for the restaurant to accommodate you and also makes sure you feel comfortable with your meal choices. Most servers appreciate when guests share this information from the beginning, as it helps them serve you better.
When you're ready to leave, you can ask for the bill politely by saying, could we have the bill, please? It's a simple way to let the server know you're ready to finish up, and it's a common phrase used in most restaurants.
That's true, Jennifer. Another way to phrase it is, may we settle the bill, please? It sounds polite and shows respect for the server's time, especially if they've been attentive and helpful during your meal.
If you're in a casual setting, you might also just say, can I get the check, please? It's a bit more relaxed, but still polite, and the server will understand that you're ready to pay.
Absolutely, and it's helpful to have your payment method ready, whether it's cash or card. This keeps the process smooth and respectful of the server's time, especially if the restaurant is busy.
Sometimes you might have questions about how to pay. If you're not sure, you can ask, do you take credit cards, or is it cash only? This is a good way to avoid any surprises when it's time to pay.
Good point, Jennifer. Another useful question is, can we split the bill between two cards? Some restaurants are happy to do this, while others may not, so it's best to ask if you're dining with someone else.
And if you're unsure about tipping, you could ask, is gratuity already included in the bill? This can be especially helpful if you're dining in a new place or a different country, where tipping customs may vary.
Exactly, Jennifer. Clarifying these details can make the payment process smoother and ensures you don't overlook any customs, especially if you're in a new environment. It's always a good idea to ask when in doubt.
If you had a great experience, leaving a positive review can be a nice way to show appreciation. You might say the food was delicious and the service was excellent. Sharing your thoughts online helps other diners and also supports the restaurant.
That's a nice touch, Jennifer. You can also mention specific details, like our server was very attentive and recommended fantastic dishes. This shows you noticed and valued the extra effort, and it's something both the restaurant and future customers will appreciate.
And if you're leaving a review, try to include both positives and helpful suggestions, if there are any. For example, the pasta was amazing, but the seating area could be a bit more comfortable. Balanced feedback can be especially valuable for restaurants.
Absolutely, and it's always nice to keep it constructive and respectful. Positive reviews can mean a lot to small businesses, and sharing your experience can help them improve and grow, as well as help future customers make good choices.
After the meal, it's often nice to think back on the experience. Reflecting can help you remember vocabulary and expressions you used. You could ask yourself, what phrases did I use today that were helpful?
Good idea, Jennifer. You could also consider, how did I describe the dishes? Were there any new words I learned from the menu? This kind of reflection helps you improve for next time and makes dining out feel like a learning experience.
Or even just thinking about, how did I interact with the server? This is especially useful if you want to practice more polite and friendly conversation skills for future situations.
Yes, Jennifer, looking back at these experiences can make each dining experience a chance to practice and improve, making you feel more confident each time.
One of the best ways to build confidence for future orders is to practice what you'd say in advance. For example, if you know you're going to order pasta, you can practice saying, I would like to order the pasta with marinara sauce, please. Simple practice like this can help make ordering feel easy and natural.
Absolutely, Jennifer. You can even take it a step further by practicing questions. For instance, try saying, is the pasta made with fresh ingredients, or can I have extra cheese with that? This will help you get used to using specific phrases you might need during your meal, making you feel even more prepared.
And practicing responses is helpful too. For example, if the server asks, would you like a drink with your meal? You can respond, yes, I'd like a glass of water, please. Being ready with these kinds of responses can make the whole ordering experience smoother and more enjoyable.
That's a great point, Jennifer. You can even try role-playing with a friend or family member. One person can pretend to be the server and the other can be the customer. By practicing a full exchange, you'll feel more comfortable when you're actually in a restaurant.
It's natural to feel a bit nervous when ordering food, especially if you're still learning English. One tip is to take a deep breath before speaking and remind yourself that it's okay to speak slowly. You could start with a simple phrase like, excuse me, I'd like to place an order. Starting with this helps you feel in control of the conversation.
That's so true, Jennifer. Another tip is to look at the server when you speak and smile. This shows confidence and friendliness, and it often makes the server more patient and helpful. You can say something like, could I please have the steak with a side of vegetables? With a calm tone, it's okay to take your time.
Also, if you're unsure about how to say something, don't be afraid to ask for help. You can say, could you help me with the menu? Or I'm not sure how to pronounce this dish. Could you tell me? Most servers are very understanding and happy to assist, especially when they see that you're trying.
Yes, absolutely. And remember, servers encounter people from all around the world, so they're used to different accents and levels of English. So even if you make a small mistake, don't worry, just take it as a learning moment and keep going. Confidence grows with each experience.
When you're curious about what's in a dish, asking questions can really help. For example, if you see something unfamiliar, you could say, what ingredients are in this dish? This question is clear and direct, so the server can easily answer.
That's right, Jennifer. Another question that's useful is, does this dish contain any dairy products? Or is there any seafood in this dish? This helps you find out if the food is suitable for you, especially if you have dietary preferences or allergies.
And you can always ask for a little more detail. If you're interested in the preparation, try asking, how is this dish prepared? Servers are usually happy to describe the cooking process, which can also help you learn new words related to food and cooking.
Great suggestion. It can also be a good learning moment if you're curious about spices or seasonings. You might ask, is this dish spicy, or does it have any special herbs or spices? Questions like these can add to your vocabulary while also ensuring you enjoy your meal fully.
Ordering for a special occasion, like a birthday or an anniversary, can feel a bit different. and practicing for these can make the experience even better. For instance, if you're celebrating, you might say, "We're here for a birthday celebration. Could you recommend something special?" This makes the event feel memorable and also invites the server to add a special touch.
That's a fantastic idea. Jennifer, you can also practice asking for something unique to mark the occasion. For example, could we get a dessert with a candle for a birthday? Or is there any way to make this a bit special for our celebration? Servers often have little extras they can offer for these requests, and it makes the experience feel personal.
And even if you're just having a regular meal, you could practice showing gratitude. You might say, "Thank you so much for your recommendations. They really made our meal special." Being friendly and appreciative leaves a positive impression, which can make dining out even more enjoyable.
Exactly, Jennifer. Plus, for those learning English, practicing phrases like these helps with both language skills and confidence. Being able to express gratitude and appreciation in different ways enriches your interactions and makes the whole experience even more meaningful.
Sometimes mistakes happen when you're ordering, and that's completely okay. If you realize you've ordered the wrong dish, you can politely let the server know. For instance, you could say, "Excuse me, I think I ordered the wrong item. Could I change it to the pasta instead?" Saying this kindly shows you're aware of the mistake, but still polite.
That's a great tip, Jennifer, and if the server brings out a dish you didn't expect, it's okay to speak up too. You could say, "I'm sorry, but I ordered the salad and this looks like the soup. Could you check on it for me?" Servers understand that mix-ups happen, and they're usually happy to correct things if you let them know calmly and clearly.
Yes, and being polite goes a long way. If you feel nervous about it, just take a deep breath and remember that everyone makes mistakes. You might even add, "Thank you for helping me with this," to show appreciation. It makes the interaction smooth and pleasant for both you and the server.
Exactly. Remember, it's all about communication. You're not being difficult by asking for what you ordered. In fact, this is a great opportunity to practice speaking clearly and confidently. It's a part of real-life English practice that makes a difference in your language skills.
Sometimes you might want your meal prepared in a specific way, like having the sauce on the side or asking for no salt. You can practice making these requests with simple sentences. For example, "Could I have the sauce on the side, please?" Or "Could you prepare this without salt?" These requests help you customize your order to your liking.
Exactly, Jennifer. Another good one is if you prefer something cooked a certain way. You could say, "Could the steak be cooked medium rare?" Or "Could you toast the bread for my sandwich?" It shows attention to detail, and most restaurants are happy to adjust things to meet your preference.
And it's also a great way to feel more comfortable with English phrases. When you make specific requests, you're using language in a practical and helpful way. Plus, it's nice to enjoy your food just the way you like it.
Absolutely. Asking for what you need is part of feeling comfortable in any setting. Practicing these types of sentences makes it second nature, so the next time you're dining out, you'll feel more relaxed about asking for exactly what you want.
Politeness is key when making requests, especially in English-speaking settings. Adding please and thank you can make all the difference in how your request is received. For instance, instead of just saying, "I want a coffee," you can say, "Could I have a coffee, please?" This small change adds a lot of politeness to your sentence.
That's such a good point, Jennifer. And when the server brings you something, even a glass of water, it's always nice to say, "Thank you very much." These expressions of politeness make the interaction positive, and they also show that you appreciate their service.
Yes, and practicing these polite phrases makes them feel natural. For example, if the server checks on your table, you can respond with, "Everything is great. Thank you for asking." Or if you need something else, you could say, "Could we have the check when you have a moment, please?" Politeness really helps build confidence in conversation.
Exactly. politeness not only makes the experience better, but also helps you practice good communication skills. By adding please and thank you, you're practicing how to use respectful and clear English, which is valuable in any setting.
Sometimes you might face challenging situations, like a dish taking too long or receiving something you didn't order. In these cases, staying calm and polite can help. For example, you could say, "Excuse me, we've been waiting for our meal for a while. Could you check on it, please?" This is respectful, but also lets the server know your concern.
Great point, Jennifer. And if the food isn't what you expected, it's okay to politely ask about it. You might say, "I'm sorry, but this dish doesn't taste as I expected. Could we possibly change it?" This lets the server know you're open to a solution without sounding upset.
Exactly, and having a calm tone makes a big difference. You're more likely to get help when you approach the situation positively. Plus, it gives you a chance to practice handling unexpected situations in English, which is a real skill.
And remember, not every meal is perfect, but how you handle these moments can show confidence and good communication skills. Every situation is a chance to learn and practice English in a way that builds your skills.
At the end of the meal, it's a nice gesture to thank the server for their service. You could say something like, "Thank you for the wonderful service." Or, "We really enjoyed our meal. Thank you." This lets them know you appreciated the experience and leaves a positive impression.
Exactly, Jennifer. And when you're ready to pay, a polite way to ask is, "Could we have the check, please?" Or, "Could you bring the bill, please?" It's a simple but polite way to wrap up your meal and signal that you're ready to finish up.
And if the server goes above and beyond, you might even add, "Thank you for making our meal special." It's a great way to show appreciation and end the experience on a positive note. Practicing these expressions also reinforces your language skills, making them natural over time.
It's amazing how a few kind words can enhance the dining experience. And as you continue practicing, these polite expressions and requests will become second nature, helping you feel more at ease every time you dine out in English.
If you really enjoyed the food or the service, leaving a compliment can be a wonderful way to end your experience. You could say something like, "The meal was fantastic. Please thank the chef for us." Or, "We had a wonderful time. Thank you for making it special." It's a polite way to show your appreciation and also makes you memorable as a friendly customer.
Yes, Jennifer, compliments are a great way to wrap things up positively. And if you're not sure what to say, you can keep it simple. Just say, "Thank you, everything was wonderful." It's straightforward and leaves a lasting, positive impression.
That's true. Plus, giving compliments is also great practice for confidence in English. It's a small gesture, but it can make a big difference in the way you interact with people in any setting.
Absolutely. Compliments make you sound more natural and friendly in English. So don't hesitate to express how you feel. It's a great habit to build and makes every experience a bit more pleasant.
Another useful tip is asking for recommendations if you're not sure what to order. It's a great way to start a conversation with the server. You might ask, "What's your favorite dish here?" Or, "What would you recommend for a first-time visitor?" It makes the interaction more personal and gives you insights into the popular items on the menu.
Yes, and it can be fun to try new things based on the server's suggestions. You could also say, "What do people usually order the most here?" Or, "Is there a special today that you'd recommend?" Servers are often happy to share their favorites, and it can lead to a unique and memorable meal.
Exactly, Daniel. And it's another good way to practice conversational English, especially for building confidence with questions. Plus, it's always interesting to hear someone's personal take on the menu. It might even help you discover a new favorite dish.
Right, this is a great habit for improving English in social settings where questions and small talk help you connect with others. Asking for recommendations keeps the conversation light and helps you practice listening and responding naturally.
So that wraps up today's episode on ordering food at restaurants in English. We hope you found these tips helpful and that they give you the confidence to try ordering on your own. Remember, practicing these phrases in real life can really improve your language skills, helping you sound natural and friendly.
Yes, and remember, every restaurant visit can be an opportunity to practice your English. Whether you're making specific requests, handling mix-ups, or just asking for recommendations, each interaction is a chance to build your confidence and fluency.
Thank you for tuning into today's episode. We're so glad you joined us, and we can't wait to hear how these tips work for you. Don't forget to practice, be polite, and have fun with it.
And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to check out our other topics. We cover lots of everyday English situations just like this one to help you feel at home in any English-speaking environment.
Until next time, keep practicing and remember, every step counts towards your fluency. Take care and happy dining.
See you next time and happy English learning.